Backstreet Boys and quit playing games with my heart on 1FM 91.3. It's the morning drive with FD and Carrie. Welcome into a Friday. Today, we want to welcome Jaime Ho from the Straits Times. He's editor of the Straits Times. Hello there.
Thank you so much, Jamie, for taking time to be with us this morning. ST 180, 180 years of...
As old as you.
Mike.
Yeah.
Oops.
Okay,
Yeah.
now we can hear Jamie.
Okay.
So, heartbeats and headlines, right?
Yes, that's the thing.
180 years,
how-
almost as old as you, yeah.
We are almost as old as I am.
Yeah, not nearly. Yeah.
But how did you put this together? It seems to be massive.
Well, I wish it was a bit more massive, but yeah, it's big.
It is big. How did it all start?
Yeah.
Well, actually, good question. When, to be honest, I've been in this job for 2 years and a bit.
Okay.
At some point last year, quite early on, we suddenly said, hey, 2025 is going to be 180th. So we started planning quite early on
Okay.
in the previous year. And it all comes, to fruition right now during this period. Of course, it's a whole year of events.
Yeah.
We also had a great dinner earlier in July
Yes.
with PM Wong. And that was when the exhibition was kind of launched. We put in a lot of work conceptualizing, putting together sort of the themes of the exhibition, the ideas behind it. But one of the sort of running themes through all our events and as well as exhibition was to really just remind Singaporeans about how close we are to Singaporeans' lives and how we've been there, not just for the last 60 years, but really 180 years. And being able to compress all of that into a format and to storytelling that appeals to the younger ones as well as the older ones who've been with us for a longer time, that was a challenge, but it's been a lot of fun.
How were you accepted by the young through this exhibition?
Yeah, what's been the response so far?
From the
Well,
young?
actually, it's been pretty good. I've been quite heartened by some of the we get feedback and little snippets of information from
Yeah.
all our people who visited the exhibition, and we've grouped them into age groups. And I've looked at the ones from the younger age groups, and it was very heartening.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, all of them may not necessarily read the news or watch the news as much as we would like them to, but that's normal. But for those who did come and they may know the name, the Straits Times, but to be able to see us historically, how we've been there, how we continue to tell stories, and the sort of humanness behind the story, I think that one really touched people.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what you should do is to tap into these Gen Zers. They've got a lot of fresh ideas on how to take this forward, right? Yeah, so that'll be interesting to find out. So this is an exhibition that's ongoing and it's being set up at different places. What do you think you want people to take away from visiting the exhibition?
Yeah, I think it's the exhibition first. Let's talk about it. It's been at the Jewel first, this last weekend at Westgate, and then from the National Day weekend onwards at Raffles City.
Yeah.
What I'd like people to take away from is to really get a sense from the Straits Times and the newsroom that we are, as I said, really part of your lives, and how we really want to be a lot more accessible, a lot more part of community. We tell your story, so that's a running theme as well in what we're doing. And to really, that really to us is the core of journalism and why we do what we do. Because, headlines can a little bit sometimes inaccessible. It's a little bit out there, not as relatable to people. But at the core of it, really, journalism is about telling Singaporean stories. And the more we do that and the more that people understand that's what we're here for, the better.
All right.
Okay.
We're going to go live on Facebook in a moment. And I want to talk about how this started, because I think it's a very interesting way to start. Okay, so we've got Jaime Ho with us, editor of the Straits Times, and we're talking about ST180, the exhibition. Your ST180 materialized. When it materialized, you tested it with quizzes in schools, chats in heartlands. What surprised you most about how people feel about the Straits Times?
The quizzes in the schools, that really was a lot of fun. Probably the most fun I've had through the years.
Oh,
so
really?
Far. Yeah,
So cool.
Because, and I know some of us are from a generation where quizzes may have been a bit more, fun and part of life, right? That's sort of fallen by. But we brought it back. And we went down to several schools.
Right.
We went through preliminary rounds and then semifinals and finals. And you see the kids, and these were secondary school kids to JC kids.
Yeah.
They were so invested. They were so, really quite knowledgeable about news and current affairs. They were so competitive, but they were so competitive in a really nice way. I mean, and especially at the finals where it was a bit fraught, as all finals will be, and everyone was like wanting to win and all that, and to see them channel that kind of usually sporting sort of competitiveness into things like news was really nice. And for them to be able to also feel that the Straits Times is a voice of credibility and still know who we are, that really was quite heartening for me.
Good.
And that's what we really need to do.
So as part of ST180, right, you've been showcasing these Singaporeans from all walks of life. I've loved watching every one of these
Thank you.
reels and reading about it on the Straits Times. So FT was featured. Right? And we loved it.
Yeah, because he's been around since 1845.
Yes, I have. Yes, absolutely.
But I like that it's not just featuring people of prominence, right?
Yes.
It's just everyday man on the street, whether it's a freegan, we've had her on the show, there's a special needs educator with Tourette's and all that. How did you pick out these different profiles? How did you find these guys?
It's wonderful, isn't it? I mean, the thing about news is that more often than not, and it's normal again, that's how news goes, it's always a little bit distance from the casual reader and the everyday reader, right? It's about politicians and leaders and business leaders and things, and entertainment leaders. And while that is normal and that's par for the course, I really want to make the news a lot more relatable to everyone else too, and to actually tell people that each one's individual stories are in themselves unique, interesting, and can tell a story to a wider community, right? And it has that relevance. And our role, therefore, is to celebrate all these diversity.
Yeah.
And people will, I would very much hope that they see that value in themselves too at the end of the day. And as you say, I mean, all of us have such great stories, whether it's those that you mentioned and Opera Tang as well, we were talking about off air, right? So we love doing that.
You've described the Straits Times history, that it sometimes gets overshadowed by newsroom change, which is very rapid. How does that sense of history then shape the stories that you are trying to tell today?
Yeah, good question. Two things. I mean, when you have a sense of history, it also sort of sits in parallel with that sense of what journalism really is about. And what sits behind that journalism is our credibility and the fact that we've been there and we have a certain heaviness of voice, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
And that is something that will never change. Just like, we need to embrace that. We are fully mindful of the sort of responsibility that comes with that kind of voice that we have. And the history that sort of comes with it. Now, with that as the ballast, for lack of a better word, then we see how newsrooms and news consumption habits change and platforms change, whether it's broadcast, whether it's social media, whether it's now, short form video. While we will continue to sort of ride the waves of these changes, the things that don't change are our sense of history and our sense of who we are for our community and the importance that we put behind our credibility too.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, sure.
News is ever changing.
Yeah.
Right? It moves really quickly. Sometimes journalists just, have to put out an article within the day or within hours.
Yeah, hours, minutes.
Errors can happen.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
In your 2 years with the Straits Times, has there ever been like a close call, as editor of the Straits Times, where you almost ran something that was erroneous, but then you caught it before it went to print?
I don't think it ever was so bad as that it's a potentially totally fake story, right? That hasn't happened, touch a lot of wood. But we've caught sort of small errors, errors of attribution, errors of fact. All these things happen. And sometimes they go to, I wouldn't say print, they go online first, right?
Yeah.
And errors are part and parcel of everything that we do in life. Whether or not you're print publication or whether or not you're just me and you guys talking, errors happen. We cannot.
We're human.
We're human. And we can't avoid it. The most important thing is that when these things do happen, and you firstly avoid the biggest of errors, and we so far have avoided the biggest of errors. But when you do make the occasional error, you need to come out and explain it as best as you can.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that you can protect that credibility that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I think most people are quite understanding that when you do make errors, you sort of explain it as well as you can, and you say, well, we'll try to do better. And I think that is probably the best way to do it for journalism as a whole.
Okay,
Being accountable.
I'm going to keep you on the spot.
No.
Because
all the time.
Because I'm a fan of the podcasts that the Straits Times does.
Thank you.
Do you think that you are going to become more visual in that area with news telling stories?
The visuals both as a video podcast or visuals as a whole?
Visuals as in streaming podcasts, that kind of thing. Do we see the Straits Times ever becoming almost like a news channel?
Yeah, news channel in the traditional sense of the word, probably not.
Okay.
I think the day and age where news channels, where sort of mirroring what you see on broadcast or whatever it is, are probably past.
Yeah.
But we are already in the midst, if not already well into the process of, video and visuals being a primary source of news.
True.
And we have to embrace that. We just have to be smart enough in terms of how we sort of divide our already sort of stretched resources into doing so many things at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we still have a print publication to put to bed
Every day.
Yes, true.
that demands an entire sort of army of dedicated people to make sure we don't have those errors you were talking about, right? And all through the different formats into podcasts, visuals, video, and every one of them has to be properly sort of serviced, for lack of a better word, right? You need to have people who think about what is the sensibility that works best, even within platforms like Instagram and TikTok are quite different.
Yes.
Audiences are quite different.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you're going to approach them the best as you can, you need to have that sensibility. So we're doing that. We've experimented quite a lot in the last couple of months, if not years. We had quite a lot of success, for example, during the general elections in terms of experimenting with visual storytelling.
Yeah.
It's worked. We will leverage that and see where it goes.
Interesting. Your part of your exhibition is Then, Now, and Next. So in your mind, what are the biggest challenges and therefore also the biggest opportunities for journalism in Singapore?
Well, it's not just for Singapore in general. I think in Singapore we're quite lucky in that there still is a very, very high level of trust in mainstream journalism in Singapore, unlike what you see elsewhere, right?
Yes.
So we are quite happy with that. We're going to protect that. Outside of that, we need to embrace the fact that actually people these days have so many other options, whether it is entertainment, streaming, everything, right? And these are the things that are competing against us for time.
Okay,
Right.
hold that thought, okay, Jamie? We're going to go on air actually right now.
Sure.
It's 1FM 91.3, The Morning Drive with FD and Carrie. And with us here, we've got the editor of the Straits Times, Jaime Ho. So we were talking about the exhibition.
The exhibition, and part of the exhibition being Then, Now, Next.
Yes.
So looking ahead, Jamie, I was asking you, what are the biggest challenges? And I believe every challenge leads to an opportunity. So with the biggest challenges and therefore the biggest opportunities for journalism.
Yeah. The biggest challenge, I suppose, is, to be very honest, approaching all the uncertainties that lie ahead of us with a little bit more confidence. I think we can. The fact of the matter is, as I was explaining to FD just now, is that that there are so many things pulling away at our audiences when it comes to their sort of time and their attention to news, right? And yes, that's a reality. Yes, you need to fight against that a little bit to make sure that people still come to us for news. But at the same time, don't let that fall into a sort of a cycle of depression or defeatism, right? I don't think we need to feel defeatist if people are still generally news literate. They still generally know what's happening. And I think the young in Singapore, despite the fact that they spend more time on social media or video streaming than when we think they should, but at the end of the day, they actually still are quite up to grips with what's happening around them. And I think that's the most important thing. As I said during the news quizzes that we had, they know what's happening.
Yeah, with the schools, school kids.
They may not be too clear that they got it, that they sat down at 6 a.m. reading the Straits Times from there, and that's where they got the news. It may not be so clear as it used to be. But so long as they are informed, they are news literate, they know how to sort of discern fact from fake news. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And when they do need to, come to the Straits Times to sort of verify things, see if things are true, things
I think
are
the
not,
credibility is the most important part here.
I want to ask this next question only because parents will be thinking, what can my child do? You always think of your child and their futures. We here in Singapore, so many industries find it really hard to get a workforce the workforce that they need. Journalism in Singapore, is it difficult finding quality journalists?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that we, like everyone else, wanting to find quality, sort of whatever it is, engineers, computer scientists, journalists, public servants, are just competing in the same smaller and smaller field of people, right? So in that sense, we aren't that different. On the other hand, I think the sort of needs of journalism will forever be the same. The value that people bring to journalism forever will be the same. I think people will still be journalists because the core of what makes good journalists are a sense of curiosity, a sense of wanting to do good through the power of the pen on the keyboard or the video camera or whatever it is. All these things will forever still be. And so long as human beings are still driven by those things, I think people will still be journalists. Obviously, there will be other sort of career prospects and stuff like that, which may be better paying, I'll be very honest, which is fair, which is fine. But I think I think there will be still people who will still come to journalism for the real do-goodness that we try our best to do.
Yeah. Okay, one last question. I just want to ask, in the midst of just honoring, 180 years of history for the Straits Times, was there a moment that particularly moved you? Whether it's putting together the exhibition, talking to people.
Okay, before I get there, right?
Yes.
Let me just, before I forget, give you guys something.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a replica of our very first copy from July 1845.
Look at this, guys.
Yeah.
Fine. Oh, wow. It says the Straits Times and Singapore Journal of Commerce.
Yeah, from 15 July 1845. So it's
precious.
All the pages exactly as they were reproduced. So for all the fans of the Straits Times, please have a look.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. No, where? How can they get this?
Unfortunately, they can't. It's very, very special.
Look.
Nah.
You have a heavy. Okay, so back to our question.
Yes. Sorry.
Particular moment that moved you, affirmation. This is why we do what we do.
It was not just and it may not be directly related to ST180, but two things that really affirmed the value of who we are and what we do. One was, I don't know if you saw the story of the boy who was stateless, Rico Rafizuan.
Yes, that was an award-winning story.
Yeah. And it shows that just the work of a journalist can change people's lives. Really, overnight. We had job offers, we had mentorship offers, and and he's got a job now and he seems to be doing well. So keep it up.
Yeah.
That's one. The other one is actually something that's still ongoing, which is our sort of little series of news stories on the vaping crisis.
Yes.
At some point, quite a while ago, in fact, it's not new, that the team decided, hey, that this thing needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
It is something concerning that's happening, and they put in a lot of resources into investigating it, working with the authorities, doing their own chasing and investigations.
Yeah.
And it's come together in the last 2 weeks or so in a series of stories which really brought to the fore just what a danger it is. Yeah. And it really showed that we have an immense amount of influence. When the first day that we published the first story, by 6:30, I had the first email in my inbox to say that, glad you are addressing this, blah, 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 blah. This is what I think you should do. And this was the very morning when it appeared on
6:30 a.m.
Yeah, you had the first one. And that's when I realized, wow, I think we've tapped on something.
Yeah.
And through the rest of the morning, we had emails as well. They say, yes, you need to look at this angle, you need to look at this place, you need to look at this thing. And we were already doing most of it. But it actually showed that, yes, we do have that kind of reach and influence on our audiences. And and maybe things will actually change as well in terms of legislation and how the authorities approach it. And this again is affirmation of what I think is a constructive role of publications like the Straits Times.
Absolutely.
Nice. Well, there you go. Jaime Ho, the editor of the Straits Times. Don't forget to catch the exhibition, okay? ST180, it is currently at Westgate.
This weekend.
Yes.
And then next weekend onwards, Raffles City.
All right. Thank you so much, Jaime. It's
Thank
been a
you, guys.
pleasure.
The Morning Drive, FM 91.3.
It's Friday, the 1st of August.
This is